Sorry. We started it.
We've only got one person. It's Wes S. Do 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 do.
Talk about the place.
Okay. Now we have two people, and one of them is me on my
Yay! Do you feel special? Thank you for the live stream, or welcome to the live stream, Naomi. All right, we can put them down. That's enough.
Okay. Plugging this in.
All right.
That plugs into there.
Okay.
Is it 8:30?
8:29. So.
Dear paratrooper, I need to go get something. He makes a really good wine, and I want to give him a shout out. Hang on, you guys. I'll be right back. I got to go get that bottle of wine and let my dog in. I'll be right back.
Yeah, Susan, we have a late live stream today because we had church and then we had to put our children to bed.
Yeah.
She said she's finally making a live stream.
Yeah.
I don't know what I did. I can't have this plugged in at the same time.
It's a little bit more.
How do you do it?
Can you do it all the way upside down?
Give our brother Palmetto Paratrooper a little shout out here. Wait a minute, what are you doing upside down?
I'm trying to plug in my phone.
Oh my goodness.
It's locked.
Can you stick it through?
No, I tried doing that.
So it's like in the back?
No, I tried doing that. Okay, there we go. We're just going to have it like this. Plug it in a little bit.
It's earthquake! New Madrid's going off in Kansas.
The charger or the holder on this thing so it doesn't slide.
Okay.
All right, there is Susan Bryant. Finally catching it live. Good to see you again. And Dawn Schultz. She has both of the books. That's pretty cool. Hello, son. How are you?
Hey, good. We got.
There's Ken Moreland and Powerful Preps
that we're gonna have to figure out in a little bit, so we don't die.
Hello. So Palmetto Paratrooper, I was lucky enough for him to give us a bottle of his blueberry wine. Look at this very professional label. Right? Cool. South Carolina Fine. And it's not super sweet, and it doesn't give you any kind of hangover. Like, I don't feel super tired the next day. I'm not sure the alcohol content is maybe as high as mine. So I'm just giving you a shout out. This is good wine.
Are you going to do any dandelion wine?
No, gosh, no. I'm too lazy. I'll wait for the grapes at the end of the summer. But I do want a dry clover. Hey, there's Lone Star Living.
12%?
It's 12%.
Joe, that's like standard white wine action, I think.
Yeah, but I think mine's probably higher. I don't test it just because I put so much sugar in it. That tends to make the alcohol content a bit higher. But his has got a really nice flavor, and it's really clear. It's hard to see it because it's nighttime, but it's really
great wine, man.
Right? Yeah. Amongst the brethren, all these skills. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
There's a Ledwin Mare. Howdy. So, what did you guys want to start off the live stream with? What are your summer plans? What are we discussing?
We have some classes planned for like the first weekend in July.
Where's my? You have my phone?
No, you had it.
I got to figure out. I got the location here. Listen, child.
Okay,
please go
to bed.
Okay, well, listen. Stay in your bed. Be nice to each other. Okay. It's going to be in
Maple City.
That would be really weird. Where's it at? Here we go. Okay. Marble Falls, Arkansas. And a more well-known town near there is called Jasper, Arkansas. So that's the location that's pretty close in case anybody needs to plan where they're going to. And if I pull that up on the map,
we're going to be teaching some
Marble
classes.
Falls.
I'm going to be doing, I think, 3 or 4 classes. One of them is going to be milking and cheese making. So it will make everyone will milk the cow, and then we'll make butter and mozzarella and ricotta.
So you're going to
it's
bring
a
a
little
cow
bit
there.
north of
You're
the
going to be able to
Buffalo
hands-on
River.
milk a cow.
Yes, all the classes will be hands-on. And then another one will be butchering and canning old laying hens.
Wow, so you're going to butcher and milk? We're talking serious
Well, these
homestead
will be
skills.
different days. They're going to be different days, probably.
Kind of.
Because all these classes are going to be
Sorry.
like 2.5 to 3 hours long.
Okay.
North central, east, western, south of Harrison.
Sorry.
7, right around in there, Marble Falls, by the Buffalo River, sort of over there. So that's where it'll be at. Plan to attend. It's before the weekend before the 4th of July. 4th of July is on a Tuesday, and so I imagine most people will probably have that Monday off. I hope. I mean, I don't know how American their jobs are. I would like people to. So, and I teach school, so I'll be off anyways. But I got to remember that some people get around, and so that's when we're planning on doing it. And yeah, there's going to be a lot of homesteady type classes.
Another class will be rendering tallow and soap making 2 ways with homemade lye and store-bought lye.
Okay. So are these classes that is there like a conference thing? Is it at a park?
It's going to be on some raw land.
Okay. And this is Fox Burrow Homestead is the hosting entity?
Yes.
And okay, so you can come out. I'm trying to make this as inclusive to anybody. I'm sure that if you have the ability to do some boondocking.
Get a sip of water. Yeah, you scratched it too much.
Don't.
Go.
Yeah, you can get a sip of water, you go to bed. Sorry,
you scratched some sunburn.
If you have an RV or something and you can boondock it, you could probably camp right out there on the land.
No.
Go over there and go to bed, children. If you want to do some camping, then you can definitely camp out there. If you want to drive a little bit and stay in a hotel, Jasper or Harrison, I think I said Harrison, is a place you could go for that. So all ranges of outdoor levels are allowed, and then you could either come for like one day if you wanted to, or you could come out for the whole thing.
Okay, so it's on private land.
Private land. Yes. It's like 40 acres. Yeah, tiny human.
40 acres of private land.
Go to bed. Close the door.
The grandchildren I'm telling you, it's like the chick. If there was a rooster awake, it would be trying to crow right now.
I'm gonna do
some. Dragon Shield 1776. You're right. We haven't seen you in a while. Go ahead, son. I'm sorry.
I'm gonna teach some essential knots that people need to know, and can do basically anything. Probably some shelter making. Do some fire methods that I have. And also, if somebody wants to bring out, I understand that not everybody's life is exactly like mine. So if you have some sort of sweet fire making methods you want to try, do that. And then I also spoke to the landowner, and he says there is a place where we can do some shooting. And so I'll probably do like some basic, I think it's called, they got a fancy name for it, 3-gun, but like some basic pistol, basic shotgun, basic rifle, like AR type stuff for people. And then
that's a full
days, man, with that and cooking and cleaning and eating food and sitting around the campfire. That's going to definitely fill up the days. I think.
The two of the classes, the chicken class and the milking class, we'll be able to incorporate with dinners. Like for the cheese one, we'll be able to have like pizza or lasagna over the fire, and with the chicken one, we can have like chicken pot pie.
So, are you guys going to have a list of supplies that people should bring on your website?
Yes.
Or on your channel?
Yes.
Okay, so that's tell everybody again what your channel is.
Fox Burrow Homestead.
Fox Burrow Homestead, like a bunny burrow.
For RW.
Right. So you will have more information about this training weekend on your YouTube channel.
Yeah, and
coming up.
we'll start having like informational videos. And this won't be a super long class, but we'll also have like a wool processing. So we'll start
Okay.
with raw wool, completely raw, so it'll be dirty and everything, and we'll have to wash it and then card it and then make either try spinning it with a spindle, or you can make some dryer balls.
Wow.
Doing
That-
it
that's
for the
that's
for
a
the-
lot of
you know,
information and learning you guys are putting out there. But you know what? I'm here to testify. Those two people sitting there and the other half of the screen are very experienced, very knowledgeable, and really, really able to teach all these things we're talking about. I mean, how many of you all don't want to milk a cow? Come on, at least once in your lifetime.
blessed us with a close friend who's got this land and has let us use it. So it's a benefit, I think, above and beyond like going to a state park or a national park or somewhere. There's a bunch of rules, like you have to stay on
Right.
trail. You can't cut down a tree or
You can't have a
dig
fire.
hole or move a rock or any of that sort of stuff. And we can do all of those things out there. And along, I don't know if you mentioned it, but along with the cow and the sheep class and whatever, it will be you could pick up some information about how to, like, what am I trying to say here, like the nuts and bolts of the logistics. Here's the fence that we use, here's the fence charger, here's how you move it. You can get your hands on there. So at one level there's the, like, I want to touch a cow, right? Like
Right.
touching a cow class, that's fine.
See a cow.
Touch the cow, brush the cow, close to the cow, milk the cow,
Right.
understand things about, maybe you want to have your own cow, and these ones up
Right.
here can be for people who are like, yeah, I'm never going to own one, but I would sure like to, I'd like to touch one, and it would be cool to eat some mozzarella that I made from the milk. And if you want to try to milk them, because Penny cow she's super friendly. She's really
like
easy.
all 4 of our kids can milk her at the same time.
As little kids, the youngest one's 3. So you can definitely do this a little bit if you want to, through to the whole, like, I've always been thinking about getting a cow. Right. What's
What
the
do they
deal with,
eat?
how do they eat? What do they do? How do you move the fence? How would that all work out? Type deal. So I'm trying
So
to.
it's a lot of knowledge. It's a depth of knowledge on all the things that you're offering.
We'll have more information on our channel in the upcoming couple weeks.
But the time frame is there. That thing's set, and
And tell us one more time when it's going to be.
The weekend before the 4th of July.
Okay. And the 4th of July this year is a Tuesday. So you're talking like around the 1st, the 2nd. And the information will be on their channel. Well, that really sounds like if you don't have experience in these areas, you're going to get from experienced instructors really
and
good hands-on homesteading skills.
We'll have some of our animals there as well, and we'll take questions and answers for like raising the animals that we have.
And if you do like all this stuff, it's a chance to come hang out with other people, in the life. You can come hang out with other types of, animal people and homesteady, crunchy people and do all that kind of fun stuff.
And also, if you're a believer, you guys are believers, so you can talk about the faith also. There's just many opportunities.
Probably it'll be like Friday. We'll take Shabbat, basically hang out and do that. Talk of holy things. And then do more classes on Sunday and then maybe Monday. So I want it to be conducive for Americans who might have to travel. You know what I'm saying here? Because again, like I've understood now, but I have to make myself think about it, that like not everybody just has every day off over the summer. Like most people don't have that. Most people are not teachers. So
right, you have to kind of squeeze it in.
Works like a regular job, but also
and it will be extremely hands-on, but also time to rest and take breaks and stuff, because we're going to have 4 young children, and I'll also be 36 weeks pregnant.
Yeah, so it won't be too strenuous.
It won't be too strenuous, but there is going to be a lot of information.
Right, really valuable. Now there will be a cost.
Yes. and that will be in an upcoming video on our channel as well.
Okay. All right. Well, and I think it's worth it. You're getting information that you are not going to be able to get everywhere from experienced people. So I highly recommend that y'all think about making it to the Jasper, Harrison, Arkansas area the
Marble
weekend
Falls,
right before the 4th of July this year.
4th of
And
July.
get in this training, get this experience.
Come
Test
to the
these things
natural
out for
state.
yourself.
Come out into the nature and have some fun with yourself, your family if you have one. Probably bring yourself some bug spray, some off or whatever.
Yeah.
If you can get your hands on it, grab you some lemon balm because that stuff works super well and it smells nice.
On the flying insects, especially. Sunscreen and sulfur. If you can get sulfur powder, it's really effective against things like ticks and chiggers as well.
Okay.
I saw a
That's
deal.
old school.
I talked about it with a guy, but it's kind of a low tech redneck solution, but it works, especially if you're wearing shorts. And we're going to be out there with people that are just the ones there, so you don't have to worry about too many people giving you the side eye. But you can make yourself, like on your ankle, a inside out duct tape. So it's basically like a little sticky.
Oh yeah.
If they try to climb up there, I got to go with these kids.
Yes, Lynn, we are expecting. We're 24 weeks right now, and so we'll be 36 weeks that weekend. And actually, this morning, the kids are always talking about how big the baby is and everything. And so we were measuring all the baby dolls in the house to find out one that was the same size as the
And
baby.
there's several.
One. What?
And
What?
I said there's several baby dolls in the house.
Just a couple. We have 2 little girls who are very spoiled.
Night, night, Mama.
Good night. I love you.
Whose phone is that?
It's my phone out of the case.
Why did you take it out?
Because it has better video quality. And this is the one we found that's the size of the baby right now. So
there it is.
12 and 6/8 inches.
There you go.
This is how big it is right now.
That's right.
Yep.
Fox kit number 5.
Yep, number 5.
Somebody else had a question or go.
Okay.
Palmetto, he said his wife is allergic to sulfur. That's very interesting because you don't always hear that.
So snow propellant has sulfur in it?
I guess it could for sure. And sulfur is an old school. Like the Army used to give soldiers sulfur powder for ticks when they went to trainings and stuff like that.
Okay. So we have been running a little bit low on beef because we're trying to just buy what we need before we butcher our steer in the next couple weeks. And so we have Joe wanted to make spaghetti this past weekend.
I was craving the red nutrition. I wanted some tomato stuff.
But we didn't have any ground beef in the house.
I didn't want to eat vegetarian spaghetti. I want bolognese or whatever.
Yeah, so we found out, we looked through the freezer to see what kind of beef that we still have, and what we had was a big package of heart. So I chopped it up really small, and I sauteed it with butter.
Oh my goodness, shush.
Yeah. Butter and sage and onion, and then I put it in the red sauce, and it turned out really good. It was had a little bit of a chewier texture.
Stop that. It's my big dog woofing. Pastor's coming down the hill. Well, I have never had beef heart. And so you were delving into a culinary experience that I've never had.
He said he's too skinny for meatless meals. Yeah. And I've been getting some hashtag gains. I was really thin last summer, teaching during COVID and being stressed out.
There's West Old Forge.
Hey, what's up? I was down into like the 130.
Stop.
So I was really skinny, and I'm trying to put on some pounds, turn myself into a chunky boy.
Another way that I'm too big to have meatless meals.
Hey, there you go. Same thing. Look,
the mayor said beef heart is delicious.
We were looking through, and I said, surely we have some sort of beef we can use. Like, we might not have hamburger, but I can like chop something small, or we can maybe use some stew meat or something. And so we found it. And it was very tasty. I liked it. in the past when she sort of tears apart, I've had like
The way that I've had it before that I also really liked it was I stuffed it with kale and mushrooms.
Can you just come in and make him stop barking in the middle of the live stream? That would help. I'm sorry, you guys. I'm sorry.
Cooked it, and I tried some, and I had like a grown up big boy portion, but I wasn't really digging on it that much. I was like, yeah, okay, it's
It's been hard to get him around to the organ meats. Like, he doesn't like liver, but he'll take a bite every time I make it, and he doesn't like tongue.
I would say that my body doesn't like it. I understand the concept, and I used to eat all those funky sea bugs and all that stuff as a kid, and now I understand that we eat all the parts of the animal. But
yeah, Wes told we were talking about how we used it in a spaghetti and it worked really well, and he liked it like that.
Yeah. And so when it was just the meal, I'd try it, but I'm like, yeah, I don't know. It's a little fun.
It's fun. I have that one.
But then when we put it in as the spaghetti, I was like, all right, let me try this. I was like, I like this. This is fine. Like I ate multiple portions of meals, and I really did enjoy it. It was little chunks. Steak or whatever, and
it is possible to can over a fire. It's nice.
Yes, it is.
Like make a fire area with like some concrete blocks and a rack.
A keyhole fire. I'll teach all about that stuff, or you can look it up.
Yeah, and your pans, your pressure canners or water canners will get black, but just rub off.
And if you have propane cans, you can do it out there with propane as well. But yes,
we'll probably do some over the fire and also some over just a propane stovetop.
Right. So let me say hello to Prairie Ball Buster.
Yes.
Hello, and then she also said liver isn't as awful with A1 or country barb sauce.
Yeah, so last week we had chicken parmesan for Friday night dinner, and I was also craving liver, and so I had some of the breading left over, so I did the liver in that too. Oh, it was so good. It
was pretty good.
And the kids and I were eating that all Shabbat as a snack.
The kids really like liver. I think
Joseph doesn't.
I always eat some, and I tell
I used to eat Braunschweiger when I was a kid too. I think you go through periods when you need whatever is in it.
It's like a kind of like a bologna or sausage or something made out of liver. Liverwurst, probably.
Yeah, I also just like to bread it with some flour and spices and fry it, and the young kids and I really. I
try it and I say like, okay, flesh, this is what liver is, and I'm sure that at some point when I do nutrition, it'll be like you should have some of that liver. And again, I had some portions of it as the Parmesan, but I don't know. I just liked it more as chicken parm, and you enjoy it, and the kids enjoy it a lot.
Well, and we're seeing other. Westhold likes it. Lynn likes it.
Yeah, and liver has so many nutrients. Like 4 ounces of liver has like 2,000% of the daily value of B12.
Wow, that is really interesting. No wonder you liked it. Right?
And that's the way I can kind of get down with it. I kind of like it that way with a lot of like sage and stuff.
Well, I had those periods when I was pregnant when I would crave fried chicken liver and ate that. Bal Boosta. It's a Yiddish word that means excellent homemaker. Well, I learned something new tonight. That's pretty cool. So we're gonna just really quickly repeat what you guys who have come in on the live stream now missed, because a couple of you might be interested. Fox Burrow Homestead, Joe 7 and Naomi are going to have a training weekend on the weekend before the 4th of July, and they're going to be teaching tons of homesteading skills, including having live animals, a cow to milk. They're going to do fire skills. They're going to do all sorts of stuff. Cheese making. And they're very experienced in these things. So if you've ever been interested in going on a weekend, and it's on private property, so there's not going to be a ranger wandering around telling you can't have a campfire. Stay tuned or go to their channel, Fox Burrow Homestead, to get more information as the time comes up.
Kid friendly, family friendly. Yep, all that kind of stuff. And it's going to be in sort of like north central Arkansas. It's over there by Marble Falls and
yes,
Jasper
it will be in person.
And Harris. Yes. Yep. And you can come there if you can make. I'm trying to put it around that holiday weekend because I imagine a lot of people will probably get that Monday off. Maybe the Monday. So
Yeah, and PJ says if you want him to advertise it, send him the details, and he will also advertise it. All right, so back to
once we have our video up, we'll go ahead and do that.
dog friendly, yes. As long as you got friendly dogs, yep. We got dogs. I don't know how many we'll bring out there, but yeah, you can bring dogs. Shoot, if you want to bring your cows or your chickens and chicken tractor or your little goats or whatever, you know, you can also do that. Whenever we travel around, a lot of the times, yeah, I call it Joe's Ark because we're bringing like the kids and the animals and the whole thing coming around. But,
birds and of a feather and all sorts of things.
yeah, summertime, midsummer training, learning, camping extravaganza.
That'll be great. So let's get back onto a different subject. I now have, because some of my followers wanted to know, 4 of the book orders have come. I will take care of them soon. Let's go on to the next thing.
Yeah.
We don't
pork,
have any
maybe
pigs,
not.
so there will not be any.
Yeah, there won't be any pork.
Yes, they are. And, yeah, if you motorcycle roads for
Wait,
sure.
what was she saying about the things?
What? Oh, I was talking about the motorcycle roads, super good. But if
Not
you're
good
riding
for
in the
brain.
back seat, you kind of got to go slow for the people, or they tend to get a little.
Right. It's a really pretty part of the country, and it's a really pretty part of the state. That area is just gorgeous. Gorgeous. Dragon Shield said thought it was worth mentioning about the pork, and you're right. That was a good thing to mention. So, do you have any other summer plans? Are you going anywhere, or how's your garden doing? You have things you want to plant. You're going to butcher a cow, right?
Yes. Yep.
A steer.
Yes, tent camping, or you can stay off site at night.
Or if you have
Or
the ability to bring out like a trailer or a RV or something and do, I think they call it boondocking. I can ask the fella, but I think it's somewhat, I don't think there's like a whole bunch of places where you can hook up your RVs at, but if you can bring it with your stuff, you could do that thing. And yeah, and then or you could stay off, or you could tent camp or whatever. So
yeah. Oh, and Highlander said cheers and shalom to everybody.
Oh, no.
Johnson grass with scissors. Oh no, we're on a pair of good scissors.
Yeah,
yes.
he's gonna be building a square baler machine this summer too, so we can make our own square bales.
Oh, you know, Justin and Kitty did that with just a bin. She would cut the grass in their yard, and then she would just stuff it in a bin and then wrap it with string. So
the
what?
Kids doing like last year, the kids were doing some little tiny bales, and they were so cute. But yeah, we want to do some good sized square bales.
So how are you picturing making the framing for that?
You make like a rectangular box, and probably with some like barn hinges so that it can kind of open up, and then on the end you just have like another hinge with a lever, so you can with like a little, so like I'll use my hands to describe it to you. So like the lever would be sort of like this and have a piece in the middle so that you can push it down.
Right.
And it'll push the hay down in there, and then you can really get a good pushing on it, get it compressed in, and then tie
almost
it.
Almost like a cheese press.
Yes.
Yeah, similar. The corn knife for Johnson Grass Man. Johnson, I feel like when the Lord created the earth and he created all the grasses, he made the Johnson grass. I see Lynn Wilkerson and El Edwin and a few people talking about this Johnson grass, man. That stuff it's like the king of the grasses. And not only does it make seeds, it also throws out those rhizomes or whatever, and they're like starfish. You know, if you chop it all up with your tiller, each one of those little nodes can then grow a whole Johnson grass plant. And when I teach and they talk about like some of the Indians around here made like grass houses and stuff, think like grass house, how are you gonna do that? But when you see these Johnson canes and they're 6 foot tall and as thick as your pinky and basically like bamboo light, LITE, it's like, oh yeah, okay, so yeah, if we put that into shocks or bundles, and we could cut, and you could make a house out of that, do it that way. But our cows love it, and apparently,
it is good.
Who was the one saying they needed a goat to get rid of? Lynn.
No, she said she needs a goat.
Right. In times of drought, Johnson grass can build up cyanide, arsenic.
I think it's arsenic.
Things, arsenic. And we have had some goats die from eating too much Johnson grass. It just killed them. And so, while on a whole, I would say yes.
Right. Just make sure that if the goats are there eating it, if it's droughty, if it gets really dry or whatever, that's when it does the arsenic. You'll have to take them off. But in a regular situation with the Johnson grass, it's good fodder. The goats will enjoy eating it, and it's got a lot of nutrition. I heard that about the cows. Now, Joe and Naomi, your phone has seized up, so I don't know if you're going to need to, like, maybe we'll give you a few minutes to see if it'll do the thing. You might have to you might have to rejoin. So we'll still hang out. But Patty, good to see you. And there's Soapy Acres Homestead. Shalom. She's a very experienced homesteader too. I like Dragon Shield 1776's comment on keeping up with the Johnsons just got a new meaning. That's true. And a corn knife looks sort of like a that scythe thing that I carried around. Alan showed you the Japanese knife. Oh goodness! Now they're calling me. Hang on. He said, "Tell him a corn knife looks like a little bitty machete." So hopefully you guys heard all that. The Hori tool, Nicholas Pullen. I never want to use it to commit carry. Yeah, no. My sheep ate it to extinction, but it's a mess if you don't have critters like raised at safe times, or they wouldn't eat it. Okay, that's a good good tip, Alegwin. I don't know if it grows here, but we have 6 wildfires burning in the state right now, and the crops in the sandhills look awful, so dry. I'm sorry to hear that. I hope it gets some rain there soon. Is it curved like a scythe, just shorter? Kind of. It tends to be kind of short and blunt, like a small machete. Here they are coming back to the live stream. Welcome back, y'all. Everyone's frozen. They're back. Can you see them?
Hey, there we go.
There you are.
I got
Woo!
a prop up here. Yeah, corn knives.
Westland said we were all frozen. Hopefully that's not true.
I think that's just when you're on the phone with us.
Oh, okay. That's from when we were on the phone. From your lips to God's ears, right?
Oh, get another one of these.
Oh, okay.
I can tell you a story about when Torah keepers move into an area that's been having drought for a while. Because when we first got Torah, we moved into an area that had 3 years of drought, and the drought broke the year we moved there. And it was the same thing with my daughter and her husband. They moved out to western Kansas. They'd had a 20-year drought in that area, and once they moved in, it rained. So, yeah. It sounded like I could hear SK twice, but it's better now. Oh, sorry. I was talking to myself.
There we go.
I had the sound on my laptop on, so I turned it off, so it's better now.
There we go.
Where it was going is that we had some of these goats die when they could only eat it, and it was in July or whatever before we knew all this stuff. But I guess with cattle, it comes down to like some of them are fine with it, and some of them might have troubles because and I think it's one of those things like if you feed it to them, because our girls will eat bales of it, and we had this whole area on the north side of town that was initially the people were looking to buy this house, and they asked us if we could bring them in because like they had a lagoon situation out there inside of a fenced in kind of area that was just taken over with Johnson grass, and we stuck them in there and they ate all of it. And then we ended up moving them all around that property and eating down all the Johnson grass everywhere. And they just, so it's definitely, animals can be a really good solution.
Sure. Our Billy Goat used to love eating it too, but when I want to
Call
get
it
rid
living
of it,
lawn care.
yeah, when I really want to get rid of it, I would take the homie and I would dig those roots things up, and I would like throw them in the gravel so they get run over and dry out, or I'd burn them. I was actually planting a rose recently, and there was a little bit of it left over on the edge of the coop run area. And as I'm digging to get a hole for the rose to go in, I was like, oh yeah, here's those rhizomes again. And there's a few that went into the chicken run area, and I'm like, okay, well that's fun. The chickens will end up scratching the crud out of it anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Did I?
Prairie, it was over. She was in Fowler at the time, which is
Mhm.
over there like by Meade and Mineola, and kind of like I believe it was like south or southeast
South of Garden City.
Garden
City.
No,
a small town.
She was southeast of what the heck is that place called where Boot
Dodge
Hill is?
City.
Dodge City. Yeah, Dodge
Yeah.
City. It was south
Close
of
to
there.
Dodge City.
is
Well,
where
Paul
she was.
Meadows said we had a drought here, and he moved, and he thinks it's already better. Well, the drought broke before you came, but yeah, maybe you brought it
by Dodge.
anyway.
Yeah, that's where she was at for a couple.
So did I tell you about the tractor thing Dad and I did?
What'd you do?
So a little bit
cool.
downhill from the storage facilities, there was that kind of flat area. You guys put fence around it, and the cattle ate
we
it.
had the girls down there last fall.
Yeah, well, those locust trees are still growing up in there, like every couple of feet. The ones with the stickers, and so excuse me. I wanted to do this because I want to get rid of them. So we took the tractor down there and spent about 2 hours using the backhoe and dug up the kind of smallish trees. Well, they have pretty good rhizomes on them too. They have pretty thick root systems. But at the end of the time, there were bigger trees that we had already cut off once, maybe 6 or 8 inch diameter. And he had to, the tractor was bouncing up and down with how much pressure he had to put to get those roots and break them. And he pulled out 2 root balls that were attached to each other about 4 feet apart that were big. Big. And I thought, if we were homesteading, there is no way. That would have taken oxen and axes and all sorts of stuff. But luckily we have the tractor, and it took 2 hours. But that only cleared like 1/8 of the space. We still have a lot of work to get that all cleared out, but I'd like to make that an orchard area down there because the dirt was pretty good.
So has anyone been foraging anything recently?
Oh yeah.
Today, when we were taking care of our cattle, we found some wild asparagus, and we harvested
there it is!
one little stalk. So, and
nice.
there were some other ones. Is this stalk, is this male or female?
Oh, I don't know. There was a difference.
There's male asparagus and female asparagus, and one like just does like the ferning, and then one does these stalks. But I can't remember which one is which.
Oh, I didn't know that. Wow, isn't that interesting? Yeah, no, I've been foraging the wild lettuce. I've been putting that on sandwiches and in the salad.
Good night, Mama.
Morels. How do you like to use your morels, Rachel?
Rachel found morels? Wait a minute. Who said that? I don't see Rachel's comment.
Are you in top chat?
Oh, there she is. Oh, Rachel. Well, thanks for being a channel supporter. You lucky thing. I've never found morels here. I think we're too dry.
Asparagus with ketchup? No, you lightly saute with butter and garlic. That's the best.
Yeah. Ooh. Wait, somebody said Palmetto found service berry that was well established while clearing the land. I made sure not to drop it. That's cool. And then we can go pick mulberries soon. That's I love it.
Oh yeah, we love to fry the morels and then have them with like buttered bread.
Oh yeah, morels fried are just so delicious.
And we have a big mulberry tree in our yard that the kids have to climb on the roof of the garage to harvest. And then they come down with purple fingers and mouths. We
I
canned
love
some
mulberries.
jam.
As a matter of fact,
the jam was very good. It was almost like a syrup or something. It was a little bit loose, but it was very tasty. And
yeah, you guys gave me some.
And it's very purple, but it also like it'll soak into your bread, which is kind of fun. I don't know if any of you have seen this, but around here there's a mulberry tree where the mulberries are white. And where I have eaten the dark mulberries, and they basically taste a lot like a blackberry to me. They're like the tree-based, spike-free blackberries. The white mulberries were sweet and mild, and really that was it. It was kind of weird. I was like, so I guess if you made this into a jam or something, it would be more like just a syrup. Like you could just use it as a sweetener.
Are you sure it was ripe?
They were ripe. Yeah.
Yep, the whole tree.
I've never heard of it.
Look, and there's like a bunch of different kinds of mulberries.
All on the ground.
I did not know that either.
And purple and white.
Mm-hmm.
And they all have different like tastes.
We fell into this thing a little bit doing the research. White elderberries, white mulberry is a new one. Yeah, it was. I saw that thing and was looking at it, and this tree, because our one cow likes to browse a lot, and I was looking. I was like, white mulberries, and I thought the same thing. I'm like, are these? But then I saw some down on the ground, and I grabbed one. I ate it, and it was red. I was like, all right, white mulberries.
Well, last year, while down in the goat area in the bottoms, I found little teeny tiny baby mulberry trees. And so Andy and Cindy, well, actually it was Cindy and I think maybe Rachel, one other person went down with us, and we not cut them, we dug them up, and then they kind of babysat them in their greenhouse, and they're starting to leaf out. So we have these little teeny mulberry trees to plant now.
Fort Hays State
University.
One of my students is fixing to go to Fort Hays State.
Oh, wow. Somebody said you sound just like your papa.
Oh, yeah, we got the same voice.
They look just the same, too.
Yep. There's a picture of me and the other Joes, and I said, look, babe, this is in 30 years, I'll be this one, and then in 50 years, I'll be that one. You know, you're looking into your future here. Yeah, we sound exactly the same.
So,
got some
Rachel and I here. Oh, there's Northwest Arkansas Prepper. Hey, shalom.
Hello.
We are going to be cooking our sap down next Sunday, like in 4 days. We're going to be doing the maple syrup cook down again.
Very cool.
It's so good. It's got like a marshmallow flavor. It's delicious.
It is really good, that syrup. So that'll be the end of what we harvested last winter, and then we'll
how many gallons total of sap did you have this year?
I think around 40 gallons, somewhere in there. I think we're cooking down 16, and I forget how many Andy cooked down. And right now we have 7 half pints of syrup from the first cook down, and Rachel has some sap that she got from her trees. So we'll be doing that, and then figuring out, if we want to maybe go commercial with these things or what we're going to do with it. But it is really good syrup. It is so tasty.
So are you using frozen cherries for the wine?
Ooh, let me get in on the wine question. I love winemaking.
They said
I have a few pounds. Oh, cherry wine. Okay.
30-gallon batch.
That's huge.
She said she had 15 or 20 total gallons.
Okay, so the cook-off's going to be more like close to 40 gallons this time. If y'all want to have SK reach out to me on Insta, I can help your student get connected to some good people who can look out for them. Or you could just go to Insta yourselves if you're both on Insta.
I'm
You
not
don't
on
have to have me
Instagram.
as the middleman.
I'm on
I'm
Instagram.
pretty busy.
I'm on Instagram as Fox Burrow Homestead.
He would probably appreciate it because our town's real small, and so moving to, I think it'll be good for him to move, over to Remington, to move over there to a new place, and get away from, what everything he's known here. It's real insular, but knowing someone out there and being able to, have someone else there, that would be good. I think that'd be good for him.
Paul, go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna go back to the alcohol thing. I said I've never made wine, but there's this girl that I follow on Instagram. She's always making mead with honey and everything, but different flavors. And I think that could be really fun.
Well, that's interesting because I was just thinking about that same thing. We got 5 gallons of honey out of one of those old 250-gallon deals, and I was thinking, like, man, maybe we should take some of that and make some mead out of it. So maybe we'll make some mead.
She says she only has
mulberry mead.
Rachel says she only has 5 or 6 gallons left to cook, though. Okay, so it'll be more like 20 gallons. And Northwood's off the top.
Maybe
she said she spilled
it. Oh,
so does yours have like the same like marshmallowy flavor, or is it different of the syrup? I'm making applesauce tomorrow. We got some apples from Azure Standard, and so I got 80 pounds total, and so we're gonna make some applesauce and some dried apples and maybe some apple pie for dessert tomorrow.
Right. Apple snacks and foods are just all delicious.
Well, when I got the apples, I also got 40 pounds of oranges. And so
you never do anything small.
The kids have been going through the oranges first, and they're almost gone.
And even before she got all those apples, having 4 kids and them eating apples,
they get so many apples.
Always bits of apple.
And so when they've been eating the apples, I've been saving the core and everything and making a lot of apple scrap vinegar.
Yeah,
and so tomorrow, the applesauce, we're going to start a 5-gallon bucket or 2 of apple scrap vinegar.
Yeah, I think that's smart. Whenever you're processing apples to make the vinegar from the cut apples, it's good. When I make my wine, while you let it sit, make a slurry with bentonite clay and add it to the wine. It will clarify it much better and faster. Yeah, maybe Palmetto. I don't know that I'm concerned about it, but I just wanted to give you kudos because your wine was so clear.
Very easy to make. 3 pounds of honey to 1 gallon of water. So
you talking over,
and then someone else, and then they said Highlander says what the best kind of yeast for mead is.
Where is it? EC1118. I'll send a message to myself with it from Lalvin. Okay.
I think that's what removes the hangover stuff. Well, that's interesting. Make my own apple vinegar? Wow, absolutely, NWA Prepper. I can tell you how to do it too. Well, so can Naomi Joe.
Yeah, you just use apple scraps or whatever, and then add some sugar and some water and some previously made apple cider vinegar or like an apple cider vinegar SCOBY, and then let it sit for a couple weeks and it turns into vinegar.
Right. So like it works great.
Cider vinegar.
You're not really supposed to use it for canning just because you don't know the acidity and everything.
Right.
But you can use it for any other purpose.
And like for all your cooking, you can use your own homemade.
You can test how acidic it is with like a litmus test or like something. My science teacher did it, and he made some pear vinegar that was really strong. I think most vinegars are like 5%.
We made
like
pear and peach vinegar last year too.
Yep, I've made pear vinegar as well. As a matter of fact, it was a little Japanese lady who showed me the vinegar, the pear vinegar in a jar, and said, "You can make, you should do it." And
I have a book I got at a thrift store that's all about different vinegars and sauces and stuff. I haven't tried any of the recipes in it though.
I have a storybook on vinegar making too. See, I told you, Lynn, these are very experienced, skilled people. If you ever wanted to learn homesteading skills, this is
in there, and I was like, oh man, this stuff's like, it's really doing its thing in there. what's the ratio with the sugar that they have to put in?
Just
It's-
like some sugar.
Handful.
It's only a little bit. It's not like a
Yeah,
cup,
it's just
because I
not-
had another
because the-
homesteading lady
because the
telling me
scraps
her
have
vinegar was
sugar in
too
it.
sweet.
The
So it's like a
scraps have
teaspoon,
sugar.
tablespoon, something like that.
Keep
It's not a
looking over
lot.
Burnt mead. Huh.
The honey can be caramelized before adding the water, though it is a bit volatile when adding water. Medieval burnt mead gives it a soda or cola flavor and lots of sugar. I'll probably try it because we have, I mean, a 5-gallon bucket full of honey is heavy, so
Super
3
heavy.
pounds to 1 gallon. We could make several gallons, and we got it for free, and I don't know. It feels pretty cool. I'm like, man, 5 gallons of honey, that's quite a bit to have.
Ooh, then she's definitely subscribing after this chat. Well, good deal, Lynn. You will not be sorry. And the videos on Fox Burrow Homestead also show them milking and how they keep their cows and stuff.
And the stuff,
You learn.
how to do things. It's hard to raise
Yes,
4
it is like
kids.
60 pounds. It's extremely heavy.
Yeah, it's very heavy when I'm moving that thing around. Hey, I keep looking at and messing with this thing, and I want to show it to you. I've had this idea for a little while, especially with kids, like breaking
Plates and
porcelain plates and all this kind of stuff to make a trencher. You know, like the old wooden kind of.
Oh, that's right. We
thing
were
you
talking
do
about
to
this
eat
earlier.
from. And so I took this slab of wood that I had off of a little chunk that I had made. This is probably, I think it's like 2 feet maybe. I had taken this slab of wood off of a 8x8 beam piece I was messing around with on, this may be more like 18 inches, which I was messing around with to do some post and beam practice. And I scored, I chalk lined along the side of it, and then I cut it with a circular saw on both sides. And after having watched that documentary Happy People about the Russians, and that dude was doing all kinds of like wood splitting and board making just with wedges that he had even made from wood, I was like thinking to myself, dude, you probably don't have to cut. I got one of them Japanese style, pull saws, so I had the 2 cuts along the side as deep as it would go, but it still only went in probably about this far, so there was this bit in the middle. And so I just made a little bit of a cut at the top with my Japanese saw, and then I took a wedge and I stuck it in there. I started pat 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 pat, and it split this whole piece off real nicely, and I've been working on it with chisels. And
Wow.
and yeah, I
The
cut
kids
this yesterday.
The kids have been having fun with it
Kids
too.
were helping, and so
Drilled it
it's
in.
probably, I think it's 2.5 inches thick, and I drilled down in the middle a bunch of places, and I again with the low tech redneck man, I know they make all kinds of depth stops and all this cool stuff, but you can also just take your drill bit and put tape around where you don't want it to go. And so I drilled deep in the middle and shallower out on the edges, and then I've been hitting it with the hammer and the chisels. And this side is going to be like the size of a bowl, and we're almost there with this one. And then on this side, I'm going to do two other ones that are smaller and probably have a little bit of a lump in the middle, but not a total separation. So you can have, like, I don't know, your meat and your veg and your rice or whatever over here. So
You can use coals too to smooth it out.
at today, definitely, that's like how you and me used to do with the spoons, and even if but that's a whole extra step, and it makes it a little bit less kid friendly. I had Tirza and Nellie, and my 3-year-old and my 5-year-old daughters over there with this little tiny hammer and the little chisels, and
I've never seen a hammer that small.
yeah, it's a little teeny.
Isn't that adorable?
Bought it for them at Harbor Freight Tools for, it was like $2 or something. And they're like, can I have this,
so
Papa? It's little for me. But it works really good because it's kind of heavy, being the ball peen, like some sort of little welding hammer.
Right.
And tap, 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 tap with the chisels. And so this is
yes, our son
1.0.
Michael has a set of curved knives for doing spoons.
Yep. And so it's been, I don't know how much detail you can get, but it's been really good. You cut down the one way and then flip the chisel over and come back in, and this one's like even getting a little bit rounded, and then after a little sanding and whatever, it's going to be for the first one ever.
And I
I'm
want him to
pretty
round the
satisfied.
ends.
Yeah, round the edge. Do some stuff.
Sure,
I got
make
a
it
router out
smoother.
there and all
Sure.
that, but for the very first one I've ever made, I'm pretty satisfied with it, and maybe make other ones smaller. I know the original trenchers were just one thing in the middle, but I like the idea of making a little bit like a lunch tray or whatever, so you can have your separate pieces.
Right. So JC Fixer, I hear that,
John
and the same
Fox.
thing, Highlander.
Okay. I made this comment. Patreon, appreciation, people that do versus just talk. Yeah, thank you. I'm trying to do the stuff to inspire others to do it. Like
That's right. We're doers.
their own wines and making their own things.
Yep. I was planting up in that bed where the beets are, and some of the beets finally are getting a little bit bigger. There's still 2 leaves, but half-inch tall.
Do they have the purple leaves like Detroit dark reds, or are they just like all green?
They're green right now with the
NWA
stem is kind of reddish. And I watered those today, but I planted some turnips on the other end of that bed today.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
But there's still one space in between that more beets could go in if you want to plant next time you're down.
So we planted peas like a month ago, but then our ducks dug them all up because they don't stay in the fence. So, and it's only 2 ducks, but they ate all my peas. So we're not going to have peas.
The ducks eat peas down there where mine are too. I planted peas, and I'm like, I hope they're not watching me, but none of them have come up. So I'm gonna try some other things down there.
But we've got broccoli and potatoes and onions in the garden right now, and I have more cabbage to plant, and I have tomatoes
compared to my
put in.
framing hammer. And it just after you're tapping it so much, doesn't get so tiring.
We are also talkers. We are doers, but we're talkers. Sometimes all 3 of us are talking at the same time.
I'm gonna swap some 1-to-1 for the mead and the wine.
Yeah, that means you just got to watch the live stream a couple times and listen to.
Right, you got to listen to each person's conversation. We have potatoes going down here too, and I had a potato I planted in the greenhouse in a pot, like in fall, and then the freeze killed the top off, but it's coming back. So
well, yeah, the broccoli that I planted, the birds got into, and so they ate off all the leaves mostly, but I think that the leaves are going to grow back fine. But
did you hear me say that I took one of the plastic big black things that a plant comes in, and I cut the bottom off, and I just put it like a cone with no top, so it's like a little wall around a plant that my chickens dug up, so hopefully they can't see, but they also can't access, because I've got a lot of the black plastic pot things laying around.
How's the broccoli in the greenhouse doing?
I think I have 3 or 4 plants. They're a couple inches tall, so they're doing okay, and there's peas in the greenhouse. They're fine. I got screen all the way around the bottom.
They'll come up. We got some onions out there from last year that survived through all the animals and stuff, and the Johnson grass takeover and all of that. And I saw the little pieces coming out.
Westhold, I don't know if you were watching when he was showing his trencher, but I really thought that might be something that you might have experience with or an interest in.
You have to go to sleep.
Hurry up.
They can't when everyone's talking.
Yeah, it's good. And if you got, I don't have a chisel with me. They're all out in the garage. But my buddy, who's like a Tolkien-esque dwarf, showed me about how to take care of your chisels. And one thing to think about, the chisel has the edge, and so when you sharpen it, you want to move this edge backwards. You don't sharpen it from the side. So when you sharpen it, you flip it over, and you just have the little angled edge, right? So the flat comes out, and then this is where your angled edge is, and you put that on your sharpener, and you go like that with it. And,
especially with cherry tomatoes. The ducks love cherry tomatoes.
Golly, and there's the duck is only so big, and I'm thinking your crop has a volume, but it's only a certain size.
He's very particular about his cherry tomatoes, and so he would go and be like, oh, this one's not quite ready. I think it'll be ready tomorrow afternoon, and then I'll pick it. And
So you
then
can get it at the peak of
at the
night.
very peak of
And then
ripeness,
the
when the
ducks
sun
would get in
has
there
it
and
all
eat
sun.
dozens of them
Yeah.
each. Just like,
My
"How do
son
you
told me this concept once. It's
But I
called
guess-
either fence in or fence
Yeah.
out.
Right,
And
and we were
They're
trying to
I'm
fence
trying
them
to
in.
do that.
They're supposed to be fenced in the
And
electric
so I told
fence,
Naomi,
but
I
they
said,
still
I
get
think we're
out.
going to have to fence out. We're going to have to put an additional fence around our garden. I
And you
wanted
know,
to
you
do
won't
wattle.
necessarily have to spend a lot of money for the fence. You can use that plastic bird fence instead of having to go buy 140 feet of field fence. It does
Right.
work pretty well for the ducks.
I wanted to make wattle fencing, where you put the little sticks in and you use your saplings or whatever and weave it through.
You
I
could do
imagine
that too. So
look
there are some
cool
really funny comments
and
here. Did
well
you
for
read?
the piece. What do they say? Potatoes.
Did you see Northwest Arkansas Prepper?
It's not
Potatoes.
the chickens
Potatoes
are
are my goal this year. Last year was a total tater failure.
Bad ducks.
Yeah,
Chisels.
our potatoes didn't do well last year either.
Made some.
because
Wow, Westwood Forge made some
the
chisels.
Johnson
I don't
grass
think I did
took
the
over
angle
them.
right. Randomly shooting chickens is an acceptable alternative.
I know,
Yeah.
right? I thought that was funny too.
Sculpting also, they're
We have
small and they have a
our son
curve
Michael
to
has
scoop
some
out the excess
sculpting
wood,
knives for
okay.
making like spoons and stuff.
Yeah, it's a curve. And the thing that Mom's saying about the coals, when I was working on this thing, I was thinking that exact thing. I was like, man, especially if I do the drilling and then put the coals in there and cook it up a little bit. But I think at some point it's one of those, there's more than one road that leads to Denver, as my
Right.
teacher say. So, and while those other ones I'll probably wind up doing those ones as well. This one is very hands-on and doable with the kids. You can have
Right.
one kid over here chopping on this one and one kid over here chopping on this one, and they can all be working out there together. And so it
Right. Prairie, all information about that learning camp out will be on Fox Burrow Homestead channel on YouTube. And they will put out more information on it.
yeah.
And
So
Patty
if you're
Sanchez, she
planning
is
to come
an
out for-
excellent gardener. So if she says try towering your potatoes, doing a potato tower, that's good advice.
Where?
I think just up.
Yeah, Egyptian walking onions, we all have them.
Who's talking about an ads? They must have been talking about it's like
Westwood.
you use it kind of like an axe, but the shape of the blade is more like a chisel. And whereas you think of an axe on the handle is like this, an adze is like this. So
Yeah.
you are chopping down.
So it's kind of like a woodworking hoe thing.
Yeah, that's a
Okay.
good way to describe it. But the blade's
Yeah.
a lot not as wide.
Dad bought a couple of those hoes that look like that so you can dig more like a little trench.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of like a shovel, you're going to do a shovelful. He bought a couple of those, and he's been using them for like puddles. You pull with one side out and make a thing so the puddle will drain.
Perennial.
Right. Perineal.
That's an anatomical location on the body. Perennial.
Right.
I know what you're saying, but it's pretty good.
Yeah, walking onions.
I hadn't heard them called Egyptian, but I do like those, and I know you have them down there where you're at, Momo. And it's like, man, those suckers, like they grow and then they self-propagate, and the top has all those little mini onions on. And I think one time Momo, I think we took some of just the tops, right? All those little mini onion bulbs, and I don't know, use them in a stir fry or something. I do.
Well,
like those.
I think that's where pearl onions may come from. Is the little
okay,
right?
yeah,
Because they can be big if you fertilize them. Bigger.
Sure.
Don't you guys have some? Haven't I given you some?
There you go.
I don't
That's the
think
way
we
to
ended
say
up
it.
planting them.
Sorry, listen, I'm a teacher, and I know I teach social studies, but there's a lot of English writing and language in there, and it just you got it.
Patty,
Walking
I
onions are
can
super.
give you some once you've moved. Once you've moved, I'd be more than happy to give them to you. I've had the tops of them be dry and like sitting in a plastic bag for a couple of years, and then I planted them, and they still grew.
Is it called West Forge?
I think so.
Yeah, Westhold Forge. He has a channel. He's a blacksmith and a funny, wonderful guy.
I figured. All right, I'm gonna get him. Westhold Forge.
Yeah.
By the time I get done subscribing with
For
all
the
my different
garden,
channels.
since we're going to be gone for so much of the summer, but then we're going to be back at the end, and I want to still be able to plant stuff.
Sorry, I'm getting this video.
I want to get that black like
get it subscribed and
cover so that stuff doesn't grow, so that
Yes.
so that I can plant immediately upon returning home and not have to weed first.
Right. And you can get the weed cloth or whatever they call it, but I just buy the 4 or 6 mil plastic from Lowe's and lay it out. And it works great. You remember when we were digging those beets, how tough that soil was.
Yeah.
Once it sits there for a while, when I planted today, all the weeds were dead. The soil was soft. I just gave it one turn with the homie and I was able to plant in it. So it works really well. You just have to make sure that you keep the, sides weighed down with like boards and rocks so the wind doesn't move it.
Yeah, because we're gonna have some stuff planted, but I don't think we're gonna get it all planted, and I want room for fall stuff.
Sure,
but
absolutely.
A whole bunch of work, 9 months pregnant.
Right, and your soil is really good. I mean, once you plant, you get really big, beautiful plants there. So
there we go.
That's
cabbage. Last year was the best cabbage that I ever grew. It was like this big.
I have never grown anything that big. That is huge. Wonderful. I'm so happy that
they were all like previously they were all like baseball sized and really buggy.
Me too.
But last year they were really good.
See you, JC Fixer. We're probably gonna it's been an hour. I need to call us too. I gotta work in the morning. I'm tired.
Okay, well, it was great talking to y'all. Everyone thank you who showed up for the live stream. We enjoyed your comments, and stay tuned to Fox Burrow and our channel for news about their camp out.
Come out to the camp out and enjoy some good time. Hopefully pick up some skills or share some, and beautiful part of the nation, and just it'll be a good retreat for you from wherever you're at, whether you already live way out in the sticks or whether you live more in more in the urban area. It'll be a good situation. So
Yep. All right, bless y'all.
Y'all.
Yep. Thank y'all. Bless you.
How do we?
I don't know.
Just push the little X on your screen ought to do it.